Hello, good evening, and welcome to the Talkin Kop. I'm Gav, and back with me is the man that wears beautiful, beautiful tracksuits. It is, of course, Joe Wainman, the Leeds fan, Joe Wainman. Delighted to have him back on. This is a members' chat, so it is a safe space. You can say whatever you want, and the general public won't be giving out to you and having breakdowns and just being overall snowflakes. But I have to say, Garmac, with one of the first comments of the night says, "Evening all. Has anyone watched Brian Cox's show about the solar system? Unreal. Gar, would you ever go and fuck off?" Right? No.
Do you know what, actually? You know Garbreen?
No, this is Garmac, not Garbreen.
Oh, damn.
Go on, you can tell me on Garbreen if you want, though.
Okay, so I owe Garbreen a massive apology, right? Because Garbreen, a few years back now, probably when I was on the show with Gar, he battered Melier, and I said he was wrong. Right. However, it's transpired that he was right on Melier, and he's a rubbish goalkeeper. He's still at my football club. He's still there, but he needs replacing.
Is he still getting a game?
If you're watching, yeah, he's our only the other one's Carl Darlow, and he's rubbish. But
the ex Newcastle goalkeeper.
He's.
The only thing I presume that straw that broke the camel's back there was the incident at Sunderland, which is just
bad, wasn't it? Mental, wasn't it?
I could talk about that for an hour, but we won't. But we'll definitely talk about Leeds later on. So, of course, this is a member show. If you're a member and you're in here watching, hit the like button. Let us know you're here. Any questions you have for Joe, throw them in. Garmac makes an attempt to say Joe, the proper football man, but spells proper P-R-O-O-E-R. I don't know why he's done that, but listen, we all have our crosses to bear. Joe, this show is the Weekend Rewind, and we look back at the Premier League over the weekend, talking points, this, that, and stuff. Where do we start? Do you know what? I'm going to start with something today, with Edu leaving Arsenal, right? And apparently he's going to work for the owner of Nottingham Forest.
Marinakis, yeah.
Yeah, who owns Nottingham Forest, Olympiacos, and, as it was put to me earlier, and some crowd in Portugal. So I haven't looked up. Is this a weird one, Joe? And the other thing is, how have Arsenal let this guy resign and walk straight into another job that's associated with a Premier League club?
Do you know what the mad thing is? What I think it does as well? I think it could signal the end of Mikel soon. Like, I think I've always maintained.
Is that just what you want now, or hope?
No, I don't mind Mikel. I think he's done a good job.
I fucking hate him.
Oh, do you? Oh, really?
Despise him, yeah.
I think he's done a good job, contrary to what a lot of Arsenal fans think. But I always said that he'll never get sacked because them two are a pair. They come one and the same. So the fact that one's gone, if this season continues to go as it is for Arsenal, which is not what anyone expected really, then I think he could get the boot at the end of the year. It depends who they bring in, I guess, doesn't it? But yeah, that shocked me today, Gav. I can't lie. It really shocked me.
It's a strange one because, like, he's there since 2019. I think he either comes in just before or just after Mikel Arteta, you know, and we've listened to Arsenal fans over the years going, look, what a great job they've done bringing these players in. Now, the only slight they probably get thrown at them is they haven't brought in an out goal scorer in that time. But he's overseen, you know, probably north of 500 million quid worth of talent brought in. They still sit there with an FA Cup they won in May 2020 as their only return on it. But do you know what caught my eye today when he said he was going? It brought me back to the Man City argument with the Premier League a couple of weeks ago over sponsorships and things like that. And one of the big arguments in it was clubs not a restriction to be put in place, but with clubs getting basically interest-free loans from shareholders and having no kind of length of deal on it. So it's just an open-ended loan. So when it comes down to, you know, if Liverpool get a loan off FSG for 250 million and it's over 5 years, that's 50 million a year off your books because you have to pay it. Whereas Arsenal's name come up because it was like, Arsenal could be in trouble here because these actually have some of these open-ended. So they just reduce the amount they put on their books to declare to suit them. You know what I mean? And just go, no, this is an open-ended thing. And their name came up a couple of weeks ago in that Man City thing, and I thought, that's interesting. I wonder what way that'll affect Arsenal going forward with regards to their sporting director or Arteta himself, or their ability to bring in players, of the likes of Rice, 105 million, whatever it might be. And that's just what kind of got me at the time. But it's not the best timing, is it? Don't get me wrong. They're in no way out of the Premier League race or anything like that. They just don't look. They just don't look as. I don't think they look as quick, as strong as they were last year. I think as well,
Gav, the transfer window that they had now looks like it's got gaping holes in it as well, doesn't it? After Calafiori and who else did they bring? Mikel Merino.
Yeah.
You look at it now and you're going, I see they still needed that striker, and now that's what a lot of Arsenal fans wanted, and they haven't got, and them losing games now, and obviously the loss of Odegaard's massive, but other teams are able to lose players and still continue. So I don't know. It's I genuinely didn't expect it to go like this. Now, like you said, they're not out of the title race, but I'm really surprised that what a weekend for City to lose, Arsenal to get beat, and then Liverpool there. What you say? I mean, come on, Slot. Slot.
I'll get on to them in a bit, because I've said it from the very start of the season on multiple shows here, and anyone that listens to me, which is not an awful lot of people will listen to me, but I've said there's nothing to fear in this league this season. I think just looking at the lack of business City done, and I think it's so hard when you're winning and winning and winning, even if you're cheating. It's hard to keep going unless you bring new faces in, and it's a constant challenge for people. I looked at Arsenal. I thought last season took an awful lot out of them. I think United are a mess. I think Chelsea have so many players it'll take them a while to really work out who they are and what they're trying to do. I think the guy at Spurs is an absolute spoofer. I really, really do. And I just thought Liverpool aren't the finished product, but they're not the finished article whatsoever. But there's enough holes in others there that Liverpool might have a chance, because they finished third in the league last season and possibly denied themselves the title because of the last 7 or 8 games where they fell apart. You know what I mean? Everything went out. It was too emotional. Klopp was leaving, so it's in. I'm not saying Liverpool will win the title, but I'm not telling you they won't. That sort of way. And just the timing of this where Arsenal is a bit, I feel like I said it last week, I feel like they're on a knife edge every game they play. Every post-match reaction is on a knife edge from Arsenal media or fan media. There's no straightforward games. Every decision against them is a conspiracy. It just feels like, when them things start to happen, you feel like people are clutching. And when your manager is telling out and out lies during the week, coming up to a Liverpool game about injuries and post-match saying, I'm so proud of them considering the situation that they're in. The situation they were in is they had the same amount of injuries as Liverpool. It feels a bit like that. And then, they must have planned all that summer, done all that work, and then 9 league games in, 10 league games, he's out.
Yeah.
It's just weird, Joe. I'm not saying... it's not a conspiracy theory. There's way more to this. It's just a weird move, I think.
Yeah, it is. And to go to Forest, and Marinakis, who's a bit of a mad one, I don't get that move unless he's getting the big bucks.
It's rumored he's getting big money, and he'll be overlooking a couple of the clubs. It won't be just at Forest. He'll be overlooking kind of everything with regards to player movement and stuff like that. But maybe it is just a case of, listen, he's offering me fucking scandalous money here.
Crazy money.
And there's probably enough people within that organisation that if it goes wrong, he can kind of dilute his impact on it and go somewhere else and do something else. But very nice words out of Edu leaving. Arsenal in my heart, such a hard decision to make. And I was like, that doesn't really marry, buddy. You know what I mean?
Do you think the Arsenal fans will be rejoicing? I think a lot of them will, actually, because a lot of them
God only knows, because they're fucking schizophrenic. They absolutely need intervention. It's phenomenal to carry on. I don't know. I think, look, if Edu was rumoured to go and turned down this group of clubs to overlook, they'd be saying, look at Edu, he's amazing, he's this, that, and the other. Edu's gone, and all of a sudden, it's all Edu's fault because we haven't won anything, this sort of way. But that's the way people are nowadays, Joe. It's just one extreme to the other. There's There's no flat line anywhere. There's no common ground. It's just madness. But I just thought I'd bring that up at the start because it's something that happened today. Over the weekend though, some cracking games on. In fairness, I'll go back to a team we've just mentioned, Man City. They don't look that formidable. I think they look soft if they don't have Rodri in the side. And they've been beaten there by Bournemouth, and I know it's 2-1, but by all accounts, Bournemouth should have had 4 or 5.
Yeah.
And they go away to Brighton next. Listen, they could end up going on and winning the league, Joe. We know how this works. We know this game at this stage, but they do look like there's frailties there, and the squad isn't massively deep, and their best player's out for the season, and their second best player they can't get on the pitch because he's not fit. That's why I keep coming back to. I think it's a real chance for a couple of clubs around them. They don't look at their imperious best, do they?
No, definitely not. I think Haaland's seriously gone off the boil as well. I thought we were getting sort of him back after he scored a couple was it in the Champions League where he got a brace?
Sparta Prague, yeah.
Yeah, that was it. And I was thinking, all right, okay, hello, here we go. And then obviously they play Southampton. Did he get the solitary goal in that one? I think he did, didn't he? After about 4 minutes, and then they only win that 1-0, weren't it? Yeah. And then, they're just not clicking. Foden's not turned up. To go from the player of the year last season to just, I don't know what's going off there. Like you say, De Bruyne has been injured. It is in and out. No Rodri. Kyle Walker's in and out because they're playing Rico Lewis some weeks and stuff. So I think, Gvardiol's having a good season. I really rate him, but I don't know what's gone off at City. Like you said, I remember Gary Neville, I know probably not the best person to speak about on here. But
not to me anyway.
Yeah, no. But when he spoke about it's always difficult to lift yourself after the treble, and they managed to do it to get a 4th. But that's like the record, and it's like you said, it's just hard to go again, and they didn't have a great transfer window. Savinho's look good, don't get me wrong. But yeah, Doku being out is a massive, not Doku, sorry, Oscar Bob, because my mate actually was mentioning Oscar Bob a couple of seasons back for a loan for Leeds, and he was raving about him then. So then obviously this season, he started the season pretty well, and then he gets a leg break, doesn't he? Yeah. I think he would have been a real ace in the pack for him this season as well. So yeah, it's just not working out there, and for him to lose, I mean, Bournemouth are a good side under Iraola, don't get me wrong, and I think Iraola will end up getting a big job soon. Not soon, but in the future if he continues in this trajectory. But yeah, man, it did surprise me. I can't lie. It did surprise me. And then when you hear, wow, I was watching the Leeds game at the time, but I have Twitter notifications and that, and it was like, they should have had a third. And it was like, oh my God, they're absolutely getting pammed. So quite surprised me, in all honesty. Be interesting to see how they bounce back.
Yeah, look, a couple of comments on it. Gareth says Foden has been very poor this season. Chris reckons City need a midfield rebuild. Kieran says that Gundogan has been well off it.
I thought that signing, Gav, I thought that was one of them. I went, that is a realistic, bringing him back. Look how pivotal he was the year they won the treble, all that sort of stuff. And like you say, he's not been nowhere near when the player that he left, and he's only been gone a season,
Yeah. How much is it? Because Sam Tandy says here, it's telling that City went back for Gundogan when City would never have done that move before they would sign the next Gundogan and spend another 100 million. And someone else mentions there, it's actually Sam as well, says the players know Pep is off next summer in his opinion. How much is that in their head? Because there is. I think he's only under contract till next summer, 2025. You have all these charges hanging over them. There was a big hullabaloo made over it. City won a case there a couple of weeks ago when you actually read it, nobody won. City pointed out a load of stuff, a minimal amount of stuff have to be changed by the Premier League. And it's not going to change anything with regards to sponsorship and stuff like that. But how much do you think it's hanging on them? Where, as it gets closer to D-Day, because I want to say that hearing is probably just about over. 6 weeks, he said, from the middle of September. And it's looking like February the result will come out. And then there'll be some sort of someone will put a protest in against it, or they'll appeal it. But it will have to be done by the start of May, I think, because there's huge ramifications possibly here to not only the Premier League, but the Championship, League One, League Two, and possibly an extra team from each division having to be moved up in order to get City in if they were to go to League Two, and that's where I want them to be, just for the record. But how much do you think it's playing on them? We're playing all these. We've won 4. We've won a Champions League. The manager's possibly gone. De Bruyne looks like he's fucked. Rodri's out for the season. We've brought back Gundogan, great player, but that's in the past. And they have this hanging over them where they could get to the end of the season and they're League Two players.
Yeah, imagine. I don't think we'll do it in England, We're not like Italy. No, like Italy, they've just been them off. Remember what happened with Juve and stuff? I don't know. I think the English Premier League, we're too worried about City and court cases and all that sort of stuff. I don't know how they're gonna deal with it, mate. But it's going to be interesting to see in it. And if they are found guilty, then all them titles will be tarnished and all that sort of stuff. It's just going to be a bit mad. But I think they'll get off, Gav. Like, they'll come to an amicable agreement that both won't want the noses put out of joint. I don't see how. I think Arsene Wenger said it a couple of weeks back. He just doesn't see how that.
You see, my argument to this, Joe, is, and I'm definitely repeating myself to people that watch this show, but I'm not repeating myself to you because I haven't spoken to you about it. My argument here is that, they won't want their noses out of joint. I get all that, But my argument here is there's 19 other stakeholders involved in this.
Yeah.
And actually, there's probably up to 30 stakeholders involved in this if you go across the seasons where City were in this division, okay, between 2011 and 2018. Plus, they've made, if they're found to be guilty, they've made a foundation in those years to go on and do what they've done in the preceding years from 2018 to 2024, which is the most successful period, right? So even if like Leeds could turn around and go, well, hold on, we were competing in a league against them and we got relegated, and these are doing this because off the back of what they've done here, they were able to go and stay in this league. It's not right. So I get where you're coming from with regards to they don't want their nose out of joint, but there's other stakeholders there, massive ones, right, that will turn around and go, well, hold on, you charged them with this. You charged them all these charges. We fucking know they done it. And they've walked away with this sort of punishment, like a £50 million fine, which is nothing. It's like fining me or you 5p for doing this. You know, the sort of way. And other clubs will have to turn and go, this is no longer tenable. This Premier League is no longer tenable. If they're found guilty, it's no longer tenable for us to play in it. And then I think the Super League comes back onto the table. Because why should, I'm not a fan of the Super League because I think it kills domestic football, right?
Yeah.
But why would any of these teams keep ploughing millions and millions and millions into their teams, their infrastructure, everything else, to know that this crowd over here can do this, and we just keep plodding along like nodding dogs? So I think if they're found guilty of anywhere north of 40% of these charges, they shouldn't be in the Premier League.
I agree with you.
The only place they can go is League Two, because it's not fair to move teams down to facilitate them. That's what you'd have to do. You have to move teams up to facilitate them. So you have to put them at the bottom and move everyone up. So for the Championship, you have the top 2 go up, all right? And the 2 winners of both semi-finals in the playoffs both go through. There's no final because they both get up. Because 4 go up and 4 go down. You know the sort of way. I think it is affecting City. I think, and look, they could still go on and win the league, but just by looking at them, they just look soft to me. They look like they're getting a bit tired. And I could be talking absolute nonsense, but that's where I am with them. United and Chelsea drew 1-1.
What a terrible game, by the way.
Awful game. And I think I have a bit of an opinion if Cole Palmer doesn't turn up for Chelsea. I think Chelsea struggle a little bit. And I just think United are awful.
What do you reckon to Amorim, Gav? Are you concerned about Man United potentially being back?
I don't know enough about him, Joe.
Neither do I, no.
The only thing I knew about him was he was linked to the Liverpool job. It's fact that he wasn't offered the Liverpool job. He was in the running for the Liverpool job. It's been reported today by Paul Joyce, who's very, 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 very reliable when it comes to Liverpool, that there was one man offered the Liverpool job in the summer, and that was Arne Slot. But the only thing I know of Amorim is, if you read between the lines, apparently was asking for colossal money at Liverpool, like more than he's getting at
Really?
Manchester United.
Well, he tried to do that West Ham thing, didn't he?
He
Got an
turns up.
interview
He
with it.
turns up in
Yeah.
London and tries to let Liverpool know he's going to speak to West Ham when he's never gone to West Ham, and Liverpool just go, yeah, fair enough. And he goes back and has to make an apology to Sporting Lisbon. He's also come out with quotes now saying that this is the job he wanted, Manchester United.
Well, that's bullshit, isn't it?
Which is nonsense, because it's as much nonsense as it is that Gary Neville said that there was no standout candidates for the Manchester United job in the summer when he was in the middle of defending Eric Ten Hag, because Ruben Amorim was available in the summer openly. You know, he literally had a for sale sign stuck to his fucking head for most of the summer. I don't know what to make of him. He's doing really well in Portugal. But I struggle to see how any manager gets a tune out of that squad.
Because I think that
squad, I just think they're all about themselves. And I think once it goes, anything in a game goes wrong against them, it's just like they feel sorry for themselves. The motivation goes out of it, and that's it. Just one question on that game though: Lisandro Martinez's tackle on Cole Palmer, red or no red?
I don't think it's a red. Because I get what they were saying when they were saying, "Oh, he's tried to do him" and all that sort of stuff. I'm not too sure.
Does the slip help him?
That's what I'm saying, yeah. Because it like, if it had connected full force, I'd probably be saying something different. I think he could have connected full force. And to be honest, he's got form for it, so I'm probably chatting rubbish. But I don't know. I didn't see the uproar that even afterwards when like Jamie Redknapp, they were all going, "Yeah, he's trying to do him." I was like, "Well, I'm not sure. I don't know. Is it a red for you?"
I think the slip helps him, and I actually think the decision against Bruno Fernandes a couple of weeks ago against Spurs helps him as well, because Bruno Fernandes slips into that and does Maddison, and he gets a red. It's overturned, and I think like no matter what people say to me, the PGMOL have the little chats during the week, and you know if that happens again, listen, we can't give a red. Like if they give a red for that at United again, and it happens to be overturned, and you know where are they meant to turn? Now they're appalling, the PGMOL. I think the standard of officiating is terrible, but I think the slip probably gets him away with it. If he plants his left foot and he catches Cole Palmer with his right that high up on the knee, it's a red card, because he's planted himself there and he's gone in. I think the fact that he slips, I think his other leg is actually trying to get down towards the ground, and I think he just happens to stay up there because of the slip, and it's probably a yellow. But you know, I'm not going to argue with someone if they tell me it's a red, because the rules of the game and they carry on out of referees every week. But that was a game where it drew 1-1. Spurs beat Villa 4-1. Spurs are a mad team, aren't they? Like 1 week they're fucking terrible, and the next week they can score 4.
Yeah. They've got. Do you know what? They've got Ipswich next weekend as well, and I could see them absolutely battering Ipswich. So Solanke getting goals was important, mate, because there was talk. I mean, I don't even think he'd had shots on target in the last couple of games prior to the weekend, so it was big for him to get a couple of goals. I do like him. Johnson involved as well. Son getting back. It's going to be tough for Spurs in terms of top 4, with Chelsea having a decent season. We'll have to see what Amorim does. But that's what their aim has to be, right? Or maybe even the Carabao Cup. I know you're still in it, right? Yeah. You stayed in the cup, didn't you?
Yeah.
But I'd like to see not so much Spurs, but I don't mind Ange, me. So I would like to see him win a trophy. So a Carabao Cup for Spurs would be all right, I think.
But you see, my thing on him is that if you're going to manage in this league, I think you need to be able to adapt at certain times.
Yeah.
Like, Jurgen Klopp comes into Liverpool and it's all about running around fucking like lunatics. High pressure, pace to the game, whatever. And then if you just watch, as you watch as he goes along, he starts to, let's have more possession. Let's sit off the ball a little bit. Let's control. Let's pin teams in. Let's not make it a game of tennis sort of thing. And he goes along. I just don't see that in this fella. I see this fella going along and trying to be as outwardly nice as he can while being so pig-headed behind the scenes. Whereas, like, I'm playing fucking on the halfway line. I don't care. Like the day they get 2 sent off against Chelsea and he plays them all on the halfway line. asking Chelsea to play in behind them, like, you know, mad stuff. But
Do you know what he's got shades of? He's got shades of Marcelo, hasn't he? Bielsa in terms of my way and I don't care
yeah,
kind of vibe. Maybe,
maybe so, yeah, maybe so. But
yeah.
the thing is, like, when I look at him, and you're saying Carabao Cup, I think you might be spot on, because I think that might be his limit there. I genuinely think that might be his limit there. I think that style of football, without being able to change and adapt, will hurt you. Like, if Spurs came around 1st of January and they were 3 points off the league, top of the league, I wouldn't be openly worried about them, because you have to adapt to different games in the running. You have to be able to dig in at times. You have to be able to go at teams. You have to be able to just put teams to the sword. And I don't think they can adapt. And I think that's where they might fall down. But it was a good win for Spurs. I halted Villa a little bit, but they have that in them, I think. They have where they're really good and they're winning in Europe, and then they just throw in a draw. They drew a Bournemouth last week. They've lost this one, so they've dropped 5 in the last 2 games. And I think you're going to get a little bit of that from Villa this season because of the European stuff. And I know they did Europe last year, but this is a different kettle of fish.
Do you think they can get top 4 again, or
Villa?
Or
yeah,
do you think the Europe will? Yeah,
no,
fancy them.
I think they might. I think you know, when you look,
He's a
at
good
it,
manager, isn't he, Emre?
yeah, he is.
Yeah,
Good.
he's really
Like,
good. He
you
is.
don't go winning like
Yeah, exactly.
the Europa League every season and not be good.
Yeah,
Do you know what
exactly.
I mean?
Yeah.
I think Arsenal were too quick to get rid of him.
Agreed.
But I think they might. I think they might get in there. I think like Newcastle will be up there. I think Newcastle will improve. That's
I predicted them on another show before season started and said they'll be up there because of the no European football, and they haven't started great, but they've started to pick up a few results, and Isak's scoring again, so it wouldn't surprise me, you know.
If you keep him fit,
Yeah.
and of course I think Chelsea be around there. I think the top 3 will be the top 3. You know, or what we think is the top 3. I think Liverpool, City, Arsenal will be the top 3. And I think it's a toss up. Them Newcastle, Villa, Spurs might show a bit of interest. Don't write off Brighton though. Brighton were so good around.
What about Forest?
The weekend before. Well, Forest. Chris Wood has just decided he's a forward again, which is crazy.
Mental.
But look, there was all around. It was a brilliant weekend for Liverpool. With regards to results, just going to the other end of the division, because you know what comes out of the Championship last season is
Ipswich, Leicester,
and Southampton. Now Southampton have been just so naive, and I actually think, I hate to say it, they remind me of Leeds when Leeds come up, when they were naive, and it was like, will you stop fucking trying to play like that, you know, the sort of way. And other teams have done it, where they come up and they think, we just keep going. Burnley last season, fuck me, you know what I mean, Burnley. But Southampton get a win against Everton, and Southampton like to play their football out from the back. Ipswich can't hold on to a lead, you know, and Leicester are kind of, you kind of nearly forget they're there unless you're playing them. Leicester,
yeah.
Has any of them surprised you in the way they started the league in terms of they're doing better than I thought, or they're doing terrible? I didn't think they would.
To be honest, I thought Ipswich would have done better. I thought they'd have surprised a few people. They were a real surprise package in the Championship. I thought they bought okay. Bought more so for the Championship, but I thought they'd surprise a few. Southampton, I'm not big on them. I don't like the manager. To be honest, I don't like Russell Martin. He's another Frank Lampard to me, that guy. So I can't get on board with him. Leicester's interesting because obviously they had Maresca, and obviously he's moved on, so they'd have maybe potentially gone the same way as some of the others, because the level of player isn't nowhere near as good as Maresca's got at Chelsea, and it's a totally different ball game playing in the Premier League. But Cooper coming in there, I think Leicester might be all right. I think the other two will go down, and it'll be one other. I'm not sure. Leicester are in that conversation, but no, to be honest, nothing surprised me. I'm a little bit worried that maybe the gap now is getting too big between those that get promoted and the rest of the league, if I'm honest, because it seems to be the 3 that go up, the 3 come down, the 3 that go up, 3. You might get one that stays, but then they normally circle.
Yeah, but it's 2 out of 3 most years. Yeah,
yeah. But I'm just hoping. Yeah.
Do you think? And I think Burnley possibly done this. Sheffield United most certainly did, where they come up and maybe not Burnley because he spent a few quid, but like if you take Sheffield United, were they in the Premier League last season? They might have been, and they were.
Yeah,
And
Sheffield United were
yeah,
bad last year.
yeah. So, but they come up right and spend next to fuck all, right? And if they do, it's like, who the fuck is he? And it's nearly like clubs are coming up and going, listen, go up, get your 100 million.
Yeah.
Fuck this 4 season, forget it. Drop back down. You get your parachute payment going back down. You have a top end championship fucking squad, and then go back up, which means in the space of 2 years you're getting 200 million injected into the club, and then try and make a go of it. It feels like championship clubs are starting to kind of cotton onto this a little bit.
Yeah. I think they are doing that, and there's obviously with this regulator coming in, there's conversations about potentially doing away with them because it's creating a gap within the championship as well. If you're a parachute payment team, you should be going back up or at least be at the top end. Obviously, Luton are having a stinker this season under Rob Edwards, but normally that is the case. You're right. Like Leeds United are obviously, because they always, as a fan base, the worry is if you get to the third year parachute payments, you're in the shit. Because if you don't go up that year, then you've got all these players on big wages.
And they're reduced now, Andy. And the parachute
payments they reduce every year. Yeah, they reduce every year.
There's only 2 payments now instead of 3, isn't there?
No, you get 3. You get 3, right. I think.
Okay, I thought it was reduced
you still
to
get
2.
3. Maybe it might be 2, because I know for a fact we've got to go up this year because obviously we lost a lot of players last season. He likes a Somerville and Rutter and stuff, so yeah, we got to go up.
But if Leeds go up, right, just go on, we might as well go on to Leeds because you've about 10 minutes left. And we've kind of covered the Premier League there. You've told me Liverpool are winning the league, and I'm quite happy with that, Joe.
Yeah, I like it.
I'll get a serious answer off you before the end. But when you look at Leeds, it is the maddest league in the world. And I said it to you before we come on. It's the sort of thing where I don't ever want to see Liverpool in it. But if someone said to me, listen, you must go and follow a team for a season in the championship and go home and away, I think it might be the best year of your life. Because it's bananas, this league is.
Yeah.
Like, it's just every week, like, you go to put a bet on and you go, I'm not picking anyone in that fucking championship unless, like, because you just don't know what's going to happen, the sort of way.
Yeah.
Leeds are looking well. Sunderland are looking well. But I look around them and I kind of think, it's a real marathon, not a sprint. You have to have the numbers there. You have to be able to just turn over 2 points a game. And that's what you need. You need 90 plus points now.
Yeah.
And do Leeds feel like they're in that position?
Yeah, man, massively. Like, we finished on 90 points last season and obviously didn't go up, which is the first time in a... Us and Sunderland did it a few years back, but normally 90 points gets you up. But last year you had 3 teams on 90 and Southampton on 87. So them 4 teams just ran away with it. This season, it's more like a normal championship season. Anybody can take points off anybody. At this stage last season, Leicester had 36 points. I think the top of the league's got 24. So you can see just how good they were last year. But yeah, look, at the end of the day, Gav, we're dominating teams. Like Wayne Rooney's Plymouth came the weekend. They didn't have one shot. We've conceded in the last 4 games 3 shots on target. Like, defensively, we're posting up crazy XG against numbers. And I know it's mad because we're not top, but a lot of that has been, we had the error against Sunderland. If we win that game, we're top. We had a penalty decision against Norwich. If we win that game, we're top. So, I fully expect Leeds United come game week 46 to be top of the league, and it might come across arrogant or whatever, and I get told that by all the champions, same old Leeds, but the team, the squad, it's just too good for the division, Gav. Like, we've got,
and even with losing like Archie Gray, Somerville, Rutter, even with losing them, you still feel.
I would argue the squad's more balanced this year because of that.
Yeah,
because we've got a midfield 5, right, of Ampadu and Gruev. They're both injured, and then our second...
Of course, Ampadu was playing as centre-back, wasn't he, last season? So.
Yeah, last season, due to an injury at centre-back, but his preferred position's midfield. But we then bring Joe Rothwell in, who was at Bournemouth and who got promoted with Southampton last season. We've got a guy, mate, called Ao Tanaka from the 2nd division in Germany. Japanese international is absolutely phenomenal. Genuinely, like if we don't go up, he will go to a Premier League club anyway.
Okay.
I could see Brighton all over him. Gulavogi's just come in as well. We got him on a free, who was at Atletico Madrid, Wolfsburg. You know, I mean, he's at the twilight end of his career, but obviously he's coming. You got Rodon at the back, Strauch, Jadon Bogle, Firpo, who, by the way, Firpo is all of a sudden a great fullback. Brandon Aronson smashing it in the Championship, probably more his level. Joel Pirro scores goals. So, yeah, if we don't go up, Gav, it's not like, yeah, we've got to go up. We will go up. Don't worry. I'm back. I can't wait to be back, by the way. I cannot wait.
Well, as soon as you're back, I will be asking you about your manager and his inability to manage in the Premier League.
Yeah.
But, you know, we know, me and you both know that conversation's coming a long time.
It will be, yeah.
But no, look, when it comes to Leeds, I do look around them and I think to myself, even Sunderland, I don't know if Sunderland can last the pace. I just don't, right? And they're kind of standing out to me, Leeds. Whereas last season, I think you're right. I think Southampton being there, Leicester being there from very early on, Ipswich were flying. It was kind of like, yeah, Leeds, a brilliant squad, but it was a toss-up because you felt like Leicester had that Premier League experience from the season before. You had, and then you just had Ipswich that seemed to come out of nowhere, and they were playing great football and they were digging in and winning games. And from watching the highlights last year, it was like Ipswich 1 week would just tear the team apart, and then they go away, backs to the wall if they needed to, and get a 1-0 and come away, and you're like, yeah, that's what you need. But I do look around that league now and I think to myself, yeah, Leeds are probably the standout candidate. Yeah. And then when they come up, if and when they come up, then they have to make that decision. Where do they go with regards to signings? Do they? My argument when the team comes up to the Premier League is, you don't have to dismantle the squad. If you add 2 good defenders, 2 good midfielders, and 2 good attackers, make 6 signings. Okay, keep the same numbers in, but the guy that was reserve is no longer there. The guy that was up front to you is probably the reserve, but he wants to fight for his place. And I don't think you have to go mental. Well, and people will say, well, that's 12 players, but it doesn't feel as much when you're moving a division, especially up that one. It's a huge jump. And it'll be interesting to see what they do when they come up. I agree with you. I think Southampton will go back down. Ipswich can't hold the lead, and I just don't think their squad's big enough. And I actually think Leicester will stay up, because I think Leicester will just sit in amongst the pack there, and and just like.
Who else goes down for you then?
If the world is right in any way, it's Everton. Because how they've stayed in the league is beyond me.
Mental, isn't it?
I don't know. I keep waiting on Wolves to do something, and we're a quarter of the way into the season and they haven't. And they feel like a club that could get picked off in January with a couple of players again. Because Wolves feel to me like they're on a downward progression fast. After all that agent guy was involved in fucking bringing a player, and they all seem to be slowly but surely disappearing. And I like Gary O'Neill as a coach. I like him when he speaks. I like him because I think he's been.
Yeah, he's good.
I think he's been very hard done by, with a lot of decisions. Probably them the most of anybody. And I think statistically they probably are. But Wolves would be the worry for me. Everton feel to me like they'll just be the 17th best team in the league this season. They'll get to the stadium, and all will be rosy in the garden again, which it won't. Their takeover still hasn't gone through from what I can make out, and they've so much fucking debt, and the stadium isn't going to solve it. People think it will, but it won't. Like Arsenal go to the Emirates, and it takes them 10 years to put themselves back on a footing to get themselves where they want to be. Yeah, it brings you more revenue, but it takes so long to get a fucking back. Do you know the sort of way? But I think if I was to pick one now, I think Wolves are in trouble. I think they've some good players, but as Owenberg says in the chat there, they're conceding way too many goals. I agree with that, and I don't think they've the firepower to keep up with that, unless there's a big sea change in what they're trying to do. O'Sheen says
Matthias Cunha doesn't score enough goals, does he?
And he's a good player.
He is. He is.
But O'Sheen says it there. He says Wolves need to wake up soon, or they'll get that sinking feeling, and that'll kick in, and they'll just go down. But yeah, at the moment, that's what I'm looking at. But like Palace have been terrible this season, but they beat Spurs, and they get a draw. They draw away to somebody yesterday. They draw away to Wolves actually, yesterday, but they all feel like, when you look at a lot of teams, you think they'll just go on a run. It was a bit like Bournemouth years ago where they just wouldn't win for 10 games, then they win 7 out of 8, and then they wouldn't win for another fucking 10 or 12, but they won 7 out of 8, so it doesn't matter, the sort of way. It'll be very, very interesting as to who goes down.
Yeah.
If Everton get dragged in, though, I think they will go down, because I think the panic will absolutely set in. And even if that owner comes in, he's 30 days to affect things. And in January, and does he risk it all to try to keep them up? Because if they go down, then he's left with, look what he's left with. He's left for a fucking 50,000 seater stadium, brand new, that in the Championship. He's left for a lot of players on big money, the sort of way. I just think Everton will hover around there, but Everton averaging a point a game at the minute. You know what I mean? They're averaging a point a game. Is it enough? I don't. It might be, actually. 38 points might do it. But I just think if the only way Everton go down is if they get dragged right into it. And in fairness, and they hold on to Deutsch.
Yeah. Which, do you think if that owner came in, he would bin him off?
Yeah.
I think so as well.
Yeah. 100%. I think he'd be looking to come in and get his owner/manager bounce. And, the two boys are in town here, the manager and the owner, and we're going to do this. Because I just don't
Is it the Roma owner?
Yes.
Because, do you know when Fenerbahce played Man United and then Mourinho gave it the all, maybe I could go help someone at the bottom of the league? I was thinking, hey up. Roma owner comes in at Everton and then brings back Mourinho.
It is the owner of Roma, from what I can make it. Yeah. Because the guy, I don't know if he's involved. I have Leon in my head, but I think that might have been someone else. But yeah, with the bottom three, it's Ipswich, it's Southampton, and it's hard to argue against Wolves. I know people saying there's a long way to go, but we're 10 games in here. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And you have to play with what you have to play with for another 10 at least before the window opens. You know what I mean? So yeah, it'll be
interesting, won't it?
It'll be interesting. Can I ask you before we go? Archie Gray. I know Somerville gets his move to West Ham. He's playing. Rutter's getting a game at Brighton, and they're playing really well. Archie Gray is kind of in and out at Spurs, and maybe to be expected. Is there an argument he should have went to Brentford?
I mean, as a fan of Leeds United, I'd have hated it had he gone to Brentford. But you're probably right, because I thought he'd have featured more.
Yeah,
I genuinely thought he'd have featured more, and he hasn't. Yeah, do you know what? There's probably a case for it. I can probably sit here now in the cold light of day now that I'm over it, because it fucking, honestly, in the summer I was fuming. But yeah, probably. And look at Bournemouth. I mean, they lost tonight to Fulham, but they're a good side.
Brentford.
And Brentford, sorry. I really, really love Thomas Frank. I can't lie. I think he deserves a bigger job. I really like him. So I think yes, the answer is yes. He probably should have gone there, because when's he going to get that opportunity at Spurs? Are they going to have to send him out on loan? I don't know.
You see, I don't know where he gets the opportunity, and I feel like what happens, the cycle at Spurs, what happens is I think a lot of players get churned up and thrown out when the churning comes, a bit like Sessegnon. Do you remember Sessegnon got him full?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
And it was like, where the fuck is he now? And then you get players that you come through and what, this player's going to be this player's going to, and when it all settles down, the dust settles on another Spurs mayhem somewhere down the line where they get rid of managers, and you've seen it with Conte and Mourinho and others.
Yeah.
It just feels like a lot of players get, the other guy is the main one, the fullback that was with Forest. What was his name?
Jed Spence. We had him on loan last year.
Yeah. Like he was
Sent
the next big thing, and then he goes into Spurs. Next of all, he's not playing, and where is he now? The sort of way. And there you go. Like, and when I looked at it, and when I seen that happen, and he seen Brentford deal accepted, and then all of a sudden he was going to Spurs, I was like, he could have done Brentford. He actually could have done Brentford for a year or two, and went and left Brentford for 40 or 50 million, and went to, I don't know, a Spurs or an Arsenal or a Liverpool, or the sort of way. Just, it feels like he's taken too many steps at the one time, Whereas if if he just went from top of the Championship to middle of the Premier League a year or two, he could have jumped up into a top 6, top 4 side. And when I say that, I mean a consistent one of those, because he looks an absolute cracking player, to be fair to him.
Yeah. See, I thought you'd have gone to Liverpool, I genuinely thought that was where he was going to end up. But
yeah.
hey-ho.
You never know. I don't think that'll happen now when I'm going to Spurs.
No.
Listen, we could be talking about him in 3 years, and he has gone to a Brentford from Spurs, and now he's looking to go back somewhere else, because he's loads of time on the side. And he's a really, really good player. He's still only 18, isn't he?
He's still young.
So loads and loads of time. Before we go, though, serious question. The Premier League, who's impressed you the most, and who have literally you've gone, what is going on?
Well, Forest have got to be up there.
Yeah,
Forest have got to be up there. Didn't expect that. So yeah, and I'm happy for them because I like Forest. A great fan base, huge club. So yeah, Forest. I don't want to say I said that I didn't expect as much as this from Liverpool, but I never thought. I think a lot of people just automatically correlated because he's bald and Dutch that he would be like Ten Hag, and that's it. That's as far as it went. And I, the way I looked at Slot, right? Leeds United were linked to Slot for a period of time. Spurs were also linked to Slot for a period of time before they gave it to Nuno that time, I think. And then each time he's gone, no. And it shows me a man that he's well aware of his abilities, and wanted to wait for that job. And he was right to do so, because obviously he ends up rocking up at Liverpool. And I think the way that he's gone about it is fantastic. And it would... Can you imagine, like, I've had this conversation with Arsenal fans on Arteta, if Slot was to come in and win the league. Like, what does it say for the Arsenal project of 5 years, whatever it is now? It doesn't say a lot for it, does it? Because guess what? He hadn't even bought anyone either. Imagine you'd have got your Zubimendi or whatever. I've got a feeling he rocks up at City, by the way, which will absolutely boo. Imagine the boos he'll get when you play him, like, and rightly so. But I've been really impressed with him, Forest, and that's it. Palace surprised me with how poor they were, but they've started to get results now. Because I was thinking, and I tell you who, which, to be honest, I did call, Lopetegui at West Ham. I'm buzzing about it. I think it's hilarious.
So he was so highly rated in Spain. Yeah.
Remember what happened at Wolves? And then, not good enough, and then Gary O'Neill so it's rubbish.
Yeah, it just feels to me like he's... Do you know what he feels like to me? He feels like 2004 Rafa Benitez in 2024 Premier League football. And that's without any fucking evidence. But it feels to me like he's trying to play a game where he feels like he's so far behind in what he's trying to do here. Or so out of the loop, hasn't read the room at all with regards to Premier League. Like, he's at Wolves. He's a fucking disaster. He goes away. And they get rid of David Moyes, right? Who's doing a fucking grand job. And they're like, no, we want to be better, we want to be better.
They signed players that would have been great for David Moyes as well. That's what I don't understand. Yeah. Like, Fulcrook and that.
And then this guy comes in and it's like, these are awful. These are absolutely awful. And then they beat Manchester United with a penalty. That's never a fucking penalty. The lot of United misses, one of the worst misses I've ever seen. United should have been like... over the hill and far away. And this is a United side that we think are terrible. So I think that's a reflection of West Ham. They get beaten at the weekend, don't they, West Ham? They're beaten 3 by somebody at the weekend.
They did get beat.
They go down to 10, don't they? I can't even remember who they get beaten by. But they are beaten.
Was that, the beat,
But like, that's...
I keep winding up my mate who's a West Ham fan saying, is it time for Moyes in yet? Is it time for Moyes in yet? Because it's coming.
It's not too far from, like...
Yeah.
But I don't understand why, if West Ham wanted to do something along these, more of a football and side, just go to Graham Potter and go, here, do you fancy the job? Because he comes in, it's not like you're throwing the expectations right through the roof. He has Premier League experience at Brighton doing these sort of things that De Zerbi and now this guy is taking on. And it would have been absolutely fine. Forest, of course, beat West Ham 3-0 the weekend. And it just makes no. It's like West Ham are trying to be cosmopolitan, and it just doesn't fucking suit them.
Yeah. So
Get yourself a
exactly.
good British manager that's going to
Yeah.
want to play football, and there's more of them about now than there ever has been. And go and see where you go. But yeah, I'm with you on Lopetegui. I just think it's a mad scene.
It's hilarious, bro. It's
Yeah,
honestly, it's great. I think it's great.
it's a mad scene.
Yeah.
I think that's us. I think we've done a great job, Joe. Fantastic
Yeah, I
job.
enjoyed it, mate. It was great
Yeah.
to chat to you again because I'm a big fan of the Trippers, like and yourself. So yeah, it's good.
But can I ask you one final question?
Go on.
Lasagna. Okay.
Right.
Yeah, no, don't try your eyes on me. This is a serious question.
Okay.
So you're having lasagna, Joe. Do you like lasagna?
Yeah, I love the lasagna. Yeah.
Okay. So what are you having with it? Is it acceptable to have chips and coleslaw with lasagna?
I don't have coleslaw now. Nah, because my lasagna's warm, so I don't like cold with warm me. So
Yeah, okay.
chips and lasagna all day.
Okay. Chips
Why?
and lasagna. No, it's just a question that's come up in our.
Do you know there's a
thing?
thing where I live? I live in Teesside. I'm originally from Yorkshire, but I live in the northeast now.
Yeah.
And there's a thing called a chicken parmo. Do you know what a chicken parmo is?
No, it sounds
You
exotic, but you're in Middlesbrough, so I don't think it is.
Yeah, no, so it's not. But it is absolutely gorgeous. But it is exclusive to Teesside. So what it is a chicken, a grilled chicken, like with breadcrumbs on, squashed out like this, and then
So
what
chicken
they do
is it a chicken breast with breadcrumbs on it?
yeah, so squashed, right?
Yeah.
And then what they do, bechamel sauce off of lasagna, the
Yeah.
cheese sauce.
Yeah.
They put that on top of it, and then your normal cheese, and then you'll throw like toppings on. So like I had one the other day, chicken tikka, chicken parmo. Oh my god, they are unbelievable, Gav. Like
Okay,
they're
must check them out.
unbelievable.
Must check them out because
Chicken
in
parmo.
Ireland, in the recent past in Ireland, Greggs have shown up in the local shops. So you can buy Greggs frozen sausage rolls and
Yeah, that's right.
TGI
In Iceland.
Fridays are selling their wings and stuff in the shops now. So you never know. Someone from Teesside may get onto the shops in Ireland and go, listen, get on this. Because we love stuff like that. Like we do, we love stuff like that. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
A chicken parmo, is that what it's called?
Chicken parmo, yeah. Chicken parmesan, but chicken parmo, yeah.
Okay.
They're beautiful, man.
Okay.
Beautiful.
Right, we should. If you're ever in Teesside, knock around to Joe. He'll stick his new tracksuit on, and he'll bring you out for a chicken parmo with whatever topping you want. But he has spoken. Don't have coleslaw with lasagna, because why? Lasagna is hot and coleslaw is cold. So there you go.
Yeah, man.
Joe, it's been an absolute pleasure. Everybody was so excited when I said my friend who's a part of Leeds is coming on tonight. They were like, "Oh, Big Joe, I love Big Joe." So we'll try to do this in the next couple of weeks again, where me and you just have a chat about the Premier League. Thanks to Joe for joining us. Thanks to all the members for watching. Leave a comment afterwards for Joe. Say hello to him. If you have any questions, I'm sure he'll look at the comments afterwards and answer you. That has been the Talkin Kop. Talk to you soon. Over and out.